All right, guys. Welcome into your Raw review. It's going to be a brief one. It's just me tonight. We're broadcasting live. First thing I got to say, man, if you can't see a difference between Paul Heyman and Michael Cole as an interviewer and the intensity that Michael Cole does not sell and Paul Heyman sells like a champ, I mean, oh my gosh. That segment right there, I'm a Roman Reigns fan, and that I think he's a quality guy. He could have been next big thing, and he still could. They push him way too quickly. I agree with that. But I think this guy's got a lot of potential. And what really frustrates me is that Vince McMahon is writing all of his lines. And tonight you saw a Roman Reigns that was able to just speak from the heart, okay? We see now that this guy can speak. That doesn't mean you need to throw him out there every single week with a mic. I don't know why they keep doing that. But, I mean, he spoke with passion. He spoke about his family. When he spoke about things that he knew, his story about when he was thrown in the deep end of the pool, he showed vulnerability. And then by the end of the night, him and Lesnar had a fantastic segment. So I know there's a lot of people that really don't want to see this match or really don't want to see Roman in the title match against Lesnar. But if you watch that last segment, and it might just be Paul Heyman and the way he sells things, but man, the intensity was really ramped up. You can't get that kind of stare down from Daniel Bryan and Brock Lesnar. It just doesn't happen, because the believability factor goes way down. And I really like Daniel Bryan as a wrestler. It's just not believable to me that he could beat Brock Lesnar in the ring, being that Brock Lesnar is this giant, and, you know, Bryan's not that big a guy. He's really fun wrestler to watch. He's got his place. And we learned tonight that he's not giving up on the movement, you know, to put him in the Mania match. But at this point, I think after that segment tonight, I think the response is going to be a lot more positive. I don't think Reigns is going to get face cheers or anything like that, but the booing won't be as spectacular. Excuse me. The way Brock and Heyman can sell a match is it's unheard of in today's WWE. Brock and Reigns in that face-off, I hope you guys saw it, because it's a good start to selling me on the match between, you know, Freak, the Brock Lesnar beast mode against Roman Reigns, the next gen, you know. Paul Heyman is the best mic worker in the company right now. He sells you on a pay-per-view. He sells you. He talked about in a podcast how his job is not only to sell you Brock Lesnar, but to sell his opponent. And I think tonight, guys, he made Roman Reigns look strong. He attacked him. He warmed him up by talking about his family and how he knew his family, and then he went at him. And Reigns responded well tonight. If Vince would just stop writing his lines, these goofy cartoon lines, and let Reigns just speak, and, you know, give him the mic and just let him go for a minute or two. He doesn't need long promos. He's a Batista, you know. He's not a Triple H. He's entertaining in the ring for me, for some people, for a lot of people. It's just the fact that Daniel Bryan is, you know, their guy, and he's in his spot, Daniel Bryan's spot. And I get that. But if you watch tonight's face-off between Lesnar and Reigns, there was something there, guys. There was something there that started to convince me that this could be happening. They could roll with this as a Reigns-Lesnar match, period. Just those two with Paul Heyman. And it was interesting because they hinted at how Paul described that The Rock couldn't ever he couldn't beat Brock Lesnar, and he didn't want the rematch. And there's been talks about Brock being the match next year, which, coming off this feud with Roman, it could be set up, beautifully. It could happen on Raw after WrestleMania. So, guys, there's lots of potential here. The match, I think, could be good. It could be, I'm not sure it could be great because I don't think Reigns is ready for that yet. But I think you're going to see Roman Reigns grow up a lot over the next couple months leading up to WrestleMania. And maybe this will be a good thing for him. The Rock started out and he was getting die Rocky die chants. He was a heel. They weren't sure really what he was going to be, but they did not respond well to The Rock. And as much as Reigns was over in the Shield and right after, ever since he got injured, the fans have been down on him because they knew Daniel was coming back. And when Daniel was here, everybody else takes a back seat to a lot of fans. But the face-off, if you guys feel similarly, feel complete opposite, it's a matter of opinion. But I feel like that face-off between Roman and Brock really it sold me on the physicality possibility. The way Roman turned to Brock and sold his believability as far as beating Brock. Brock is an animal. It's hard for anybody to believe that anybody could beat him in the ring because he's Brock Lesnar. But you get a guy at Reigns' height, weight, family history, just the spear. The spear is a move that has always been beloved. And you guys, I'm sure you saw the Royal Rumble. One thing that gets lost there is that his spear on Rusev was one of the most vicious spears I've ever seen in this company. He recognized the moment, knew that things were not going his way, and he felt, you know what, I got to get a spear, everything I got. And if you watch that spear back in slow motion, you'll see why. I mean, it was so impressive because you just don't see spears like that too much nowadays. In Edge's later years, he was starting to slow down a little in his spears, and he wasn't going full force. Might have had, something to do with his injuries, and you understand that. But when you have a spear, you got the potential to get over if you got the right personality. And I think if they can get Vince McMahon off of Roman Reigns' back, he tries to take him under his wing because he thinks he's invented so many top stars before. But, to be honest, a lot of these guys got over without Vince. They didn't need Vince to get over. So if Vince can just step away from Roman and let him be himself and let him cut promos on Brock where Brock is there, a lot of promos, there needs to be face-to-face confrontation between Brock and Roman because that's the best way to sell the physicality. Brock is a big dude, and Roman is one of the few guys in the company that can match him in size and speed. So the face-off, I wanted to start with that. Their face-off at the end of the match, for anybody tuning in right now, it's starting to sell me on Brock versus Reigns as a main event. And I'm interested to see where they go from this. I want to see what happens on SmackDown. There's talk of a Reigns versus Big Show last man standing match. So I'm not excited really for that because the Big Show should just retire at this point. But he's getting them checks. Can't hate on that. He was cool when he came here for WWE Live. He played basketball in the Missouri Valley Conference. Played to that, so I don't hate the Big Show, but it's time for him to hang it up. To be honest, Kane as well. Just go to the back and pull what Road Dogg and Billy Gunn are doing most of the time. So we started the night. We got a Daniel Bryan versus Kane in a casket match has been announced for SmackDown, and SmackDown is now going to be live due to weather conditions that are forcing them to not be able to record tomorrow. SmackDown will be live, and you will want to see it because it is going to be like the Royal Rumble Fallout show, basically the Raw after. It's going to be condensed down, so they're going to have the important stuff. There's only 2 hours to work with on SmackDown, so instead of a dumb Adam Rose segment, you're going to get something solid. So check out SmackDown, and we'll be doing a live, most likely a live review for SmackDown. If it's not live, it'll be up there that night. So hopefully you guys join us for that. So then we got Seth Rollins in an interview with Michael Cole, and unfortunately, Michael Cole, he's an interviewer by trade, really, because he's not a WWE or he's not a wrestling announcer. He doesn't know any moves. I mean, Jesus, the guy is terrible on commentary. He's a robot when he's asking questions. So he asked Rollins whether he deserved his title shot, and Rollins gave a great answer. Rollins over the past year is a product of hard work and practice, because this guy couldn't cut very good promos when he was in the Shield. But as the Shield was starting to break up and he got his singles run with Triple H started taking the mic less and gave it to Rollins more. And Rollins has gotten more and more practice. And now Seth Rollins is a very competent mic worker and one of the top mic workers we got right now, which is really surprising because I was not a big Rollins mic guy. I love him in the ring, obviously, but originally Rollins did not impress me on the mic, but lately he's really been improving and impressing me and hopefully you guys, because he's putting in the work. So don't hate on the guy. I know he's a heel and everything, but if you're at a live show, appreciate the man. He goes out there and he steals the show every night. So he said, he responded to Michael Cole, with the answer of, did you see me? Did you watch me in the match? I think that speaks for itself. And Rollins said he thought that 2 curb stomps, responding to another Cole question, he thought 2 curb stomps would bring down the Beast, but they didn't work. He's curb stomped pretty much everybody in the business, and I believe the only person who's actually kicked out of a curb stomp outside of Brock Lesnar is John Cena. Unfortunately, I was really disappointed because the curb stomp is a devastating finisher for me. I really like the curb stomp when it's done well, and I like that he sets it up with the power bomb in the corner. It's solid. I really like it. He talked when he was talking to Michael Cole. He said that the Phoenix Splash is something that he thought for sure would get him the pin until Lesnar came in the ring. So he did acknowledge the Phoenix Splash, which Straight Edge Hitman pointed out to me back when he was watching him in Ring of Honor. He did it consistently. I don't know if we'll be seeing it a lot more, but he did clarify the name of the move, which makes you think that he's likely to use it in more spots, probably not till Mania. It's more of a pay-per-view type of finisher, I would think. He asked Rollins, what happens if Lesnar meets Rollins one-on-one? Rollins admitted that he underestimated Lesnar, but Lesnar also underestimated Rollins. And this is kind of a theme. Rollins says that sometimes Lesnar, doesn't see what's right in front of his face, and he references the Money in the Bank as Plan B, and so Rollins at this point is selling the possibility of cashing in sometime, whether it's WrestleMania or before. Cole asks Rollins, he thanks him for the interview and asks him, to leave, and says Lesnar is up next, and Rollins says, hey, Lesnar's up next, he wants this chair, I'm not moving. So we get a commercial, and we come back, and Rollins is still in the chair, and Lesnar comes in, and he says, I believe you're in my chair. Rollins, gets up, he kind of dusts the chair off, and he's like, oh, you're this chair, and then he throws it down, selling some intensity there. So, and then Lesnar, true to Lesnar fashion, this he's an underrated mic worker. He's really fun to hear talk because he's actually pretty funny. He says, well, Rollins is just mad from getting his ass kicked last night. So kudos to Lesnar for throwing out these funny little one-liners every now and then, even though he doesn't really like to speak. He always sells intensity so well. So we get a Cole Lesnar interview, and Lesnar responds to Cole's question about his injury. He says, "Yeah, I did suffer a broken rib, but I've suffered lots of injuries throughout my career." And you're not sure if he actually did injure himself at all. If he didn't get hurt at all, then what an incredible seller, because this guy was limping, holding his, like his kidney, his rib cage. He was holding everything in the midsection there and really selling it like a champ, which he is. Cole asked Paul Heyman if this match is due to them being at odds with the Authority. And Heyman kind of laughed this off, and he said, "Hey, I got nothing wrong with the Authority. This is just Heyman being Heyman. His dialect, his timing, it's impeccable, guys. If you want to learn how to sell a promo, study Paul Heyman, okay? Appreciate the guy while you got him in the business, because when Lesnar leaves, there's no guarantee that Heyman's staying, okay? So this guy is good." He says as long as they can afford him, the Authority, they will have access to him. He says how the Authority and Brock and Lesnar, they exploit each other. They use each other. They have a handshake agreement. So no more implications of friendliness between the Authority than that, and no problems either. So it seems that nothing's changed really with the Authority and Paul Heyman. They're still at a friendly relationship. When they need Brock to do something, as long as they're paying him, is how Paul put it, he will be there. So next we get Cole bringing up the undefeated streak of The Undertaker being conquered by Brock Lesnar. This is one of the coolest moments of last year for me and for a lot of people, and some people were devastated. Undertaker had to lose at some point. There's the right guy to lose to, Brock Lesnar. He's what an incredible run Brock is on, He's putting on great matches. He's putting on shock value segments. He's even talking a little more. Heyman's just delivering on the mic. This is a special duo right now, guys. It's a great run for Brock Lesnar, and one of the best 2-year runs ever for a wrestler, and especially a wrestler with an advocate. And Heyman continues to sell Brock Lesnar as this once-in-a-lifetime athlete, which is very true, guys. This is a college champion, a UFC champion, a WWE champion, and I know the WWE part is kayfabe, but the fact that he won it is still impressive nonetheless, because it's not just the way he won it, it's the way he took out John Cena, in that the Authority, the actual Authority, Vince and everybody approved of him beating up on Cena like that. He's kind of broken that glass ceiling when it comes to Cena. So thank you, Lesnar, for showing Cena's vulnerability as a person in the ring for these kids that think he's a Superman. It's ridiculous. And he says, Cole, when you speak his name, you say Brock Lesnar. He's not Brock Lesnar. He's Brock Lesnar. He shows the deepness in his voice, and he says, when you announce this guy, he's not some mere man. He's a spectacle. He's a beast. He's Brock Lesnar. So we get Heyman really selling Brock. So Heyman was on a roll tonight, guys. He sold Brock. He sold Rollins. He sold Roman Reigns at the end of the night. Paul Heyman he's one of the most talented guys on the roster, period. I don't care what it is. He doesn't have to be in any kind of shape to be a great mic worker. He's happy. He's in a good place right now, and he's doing fantastic. Cole says Roman Reigns won the Royal Rumble. What are your thoughts about that? Lesnar kind of plays it off like, who's Roman Reigns? I'm sorry, I don't know him. But he quickly recovers into a congratulations to Roman Reigns. You know, you won the Royal Rumble, but now you got to face me. And he says, I hope you're up for the challenge. And Paul Heyman is asked, can Roman Reigns stop Brock Lesnar? What do you think the answer was? Paul, instead of going into a lengthy response, the guy with perfect timing, he simply says, no. Okay? That's it. So Paul's on a roll at this point. He's just doing fantastic. And after that we get Byron Saxton, you know, Michael Cole in training, stupid. He interviews Roman Reigns. And you could tell that parts of Roman's responses were bullet pointed. It wasn't scripted. It was bullet pointed. But his first question, he asks Roman about, you know, his greenness, his rookie, his inability as opposed to his ability. And Roman he spoke from the heart. Roman gave us a solid answer here. He talks about his family. He talks about all the times that he was with his Samoan blood that eats, sleeps, breathes wrestling, WWE, WWF, Alpha, Sika, his whole bloodline. He goes through a lot of his family members, Yokozuna. It was really cool to see Roman speak from the heart rather than, you know, make it feel like Vince was in his ear telling him exactly what to say. And you got a moment where Roman came off as just a cool guy. And that's what he needs to be. He's not a natural, just badass dude like Brock. You know, nobody's Brock. They try to make Ryback into a badass guy, and he's not. It doesn't work when you try to do that. You have to take somebody's personality and amplify it. Roman is just a cool dude that you'd want to sit down, have a drink with, and talk sports, you know? This guy played college football. He's a captain for Georgia Tech. He's an athlete. He's a cool guy. And, you know, you guys, as much as a lot of you do not like Roman right now, just ask yourself if you don't like Roman or if you don't like the spot he's been given. Because I understand. I don't think that they're going to push him Cena-esque over the next couple of years. I think he's going to be a top guy. And whether or not he deserves that is off the table right now. You can either cheer him, you can boo him, you can complain, you can be happy. But either way, the guy's out there and he's trying to get better. It's not like this guy, he didn't ask to be put in this spot where he's in a rocket ship and they're boosting him to the top. He's a nice dude. When he speaks from the heart, it's interesting. When he's scripted, he sounds so corny, like a Cena promo kind of. And it's just it's bad. It's boring when they try to they get Vince to write it. Just let him respond. Ask him a question. Let him respond. I'll get more into that later on. So Saxton brings up the hostile crowd, and he asks Roman if they were unfair to him. I thought this was a pretty stupid question, but it at least allowed Roman to respond in a proper way. Roman talked about how since he was a little kid, he had dreamed of being, WWE champion and winning the Royal Rumble to go on to main event WrestleMania to win that championship, but he didn't. He didn't dream it up exactly the same way. He thought that he would be, respond, or the crowd would respond with more love than that. And if they would have done that last year, I think they might have. They would have been pretty happy. But it wasn't his time, and it still really isn't his time. But if he can improve on the mic, that would just go so far with this. So Roman, he's talking about how life isn't fair. It was a good answer. He's basically saying that he wasn't the person who made the decision to put him in this spot. But now that he's in the spot, he's going to take full advantage of it. And I like that response where he's basically saying, they're giving me the opportunity. That was his exact words. They're giving me the opportunity to make something of myself, to be the WWE champion. If he knocks out John Cena from the top spot, then thank you, Roman, We've been waiting for somebody to knock off Cena. He's been there 10 years, going on 11 years, guys. Roman Reigns, if he's the guy to do it, at least support him for now and get Cena off the throne. If they turn Reigns heel eventually, then you can hate him some more. I don't think some people see him as the next Cena, and I just don't see that. They're not going to – Cena had an unprecedented run as WWE, the champion and face of the company. It's ridiculous what they did with him. Hulk Hogan didn't get that kind of treatment. He did in a short amount of time. Hulk was almost unbeatable for a while, but he was also – at times he was human. The bad guy did go over every now and then. And eventually Hulk was knocked off his throne by a younger guy. Mainly, he kind of helped that along by going to WCW. And there's no competition for Cena in WWE nowadays. But Cena is not long for this whole face of the company thing. You've seen at the end of Raw how Roman is now the last guy to appear in the opening, video package. There's signs all over the place that Roman is the next face and John Cena is on the way out. That's what we want. So hopefully it stays true. I'm gonna support Reigns as the guy to knock Cena off his pedestal, and I'm excited to see what they do. I could see myself getting into this feud between Brock and Reigns because I really like both guys as a person. I like Reigns in the ring to a certain degree. I love Brock in the ring. I love Paul Heyman on the mic. It opens some interesting avenues for The Rock and Roman, along with the possibility of an alignment with Paul Heyman. It's a possibility. We'll talk more about that on the SmackDown review. I'll get into more about how that would work, and hopefully you guys would enjoy hearing a little bit of fantasy booking. I love doing some fantasy booking because it's always fun to create something that you hope will happen. It probably won't, but sometimes it comes true. We filmed. It was just the other day. We were doing Royal Rumble predictions, and then we did a Road to WrestleMania video. And I just saw the card, the news and rumors about the predicted WrestleMania card, and I hit the nail on the head exactly. And you feel like you're starting to get these things, and you hope you don't want to be right completely because you want some shock value. You want to be surprised. That's the best part about the Shield breakup, the Brock beating Undertaker. It's the shock value. The Hulk Hogan turning on the good guys and joining up NWO, joining on NWO as the third guy. That's what hooks people in. People like a good story, and people don't want to see what's coming. A lot of the reason that Reigns is booed is because it's the internet age where everybody knows everything too quickly. And I'm guilty of this as well. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are. But I'm old enough to appreciate that sometimes, even though everybody knows it's going to happen, it's the right thing to do. I don't think it's Roman's time. I really don't. But I don't. I didn't want to see Brock versus Daniel Bryan either. I'm not sure what I wanted to see, but I want to see something unpredictable. I do want to see Reigns Lesnar, and I want to see a Rollins cash in at the end of the night, or even, and this would be awesome. This is one of my ideas. Seth Rollins is starting to get some face cheers, and he could really build on that momentum by, stay a tweener. Don't be cutting these crazy heel promos on the fans. Cut it on some good guys, and that's fine. People appreciate a good bad guy. But if you start talking bad about the fans, they won't like you anymore. But with Rollins, if he says, no, I can beat Brock Lesnar, I know what it takes to beat Roman Reigns, I'm cashing in my title match at WrestleMania, put me in the main event, put me in there for a triple threat, and with a possibility of Randy Orton going, whoa, 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 whoa. I still have my rematch clause from when I lost the title to John Cena. Now, when am I going to get that, okay? So there's lots of possibilities, and Daniel Bryan still has a claim to the title. For all you Daniel Bryan fans, there's still a possibility he could be in that title match, whether Reigns is in it or not. Daniel Bryan never lost his title. It was stripped of him. He mentioned in the interview. We'll get to that. We have that coming up. Dean Ambrose is shown outside by a car. Sorry. He's coming in the building, banging on the door and asking for somebody to let him in. And they ask him, Dean Ambrose, he's the man on the mic. So they ask him how he got there, and he says he walked, obviously. And they're like, you walked all the way here? And he said, well, after the match, I was really pissed off, so I just took a walk and I ended up here. And they're like, really? Well, who are you talking to? No, I didn't walk here. He goes, well, after after taking that walk, I realized that Raw got moved to headquarters. So I hitchhiked. I got on the side of the road. I put my thumb in the air. I hitchhiked. I sat on some hay in a pickup truck. I got into a brawl at the gas station. Almost lost a finger. And he talks about how he got there to headquarters. And, even though Dean's probably a little upset about his place in the company right now, he's still delivering on the mic. And then you go straight from Dean acting like a fool, and they cut to Renee Young smiling because, that's her boyfriend, and I'm sure she gets a kick out of seeing Dean be the crazy Dean Ambrose on screen. So next we got Renee Young interviewing none other than Daniel Bryan, the boyhood wonder from all around the world. People love this guy. No yes, yes, yes chance. There's no live crowd. Renee asked him about the birth of the Yes movement from last year. And Daniel talks about his run to WrestleMania and how the fans helped him out. If you remember Hijack Raw, which was actually done by WWE, I believe in Chicago. And there were many, many nights where Bryan was being screwed. They turned him heel to be with the Wyatts. And Daniel Bryan he was getting screwed over and over last year. And if you don't like CM Punk and you like Daniel Bryan, well, you can thank CM Punk because Daniel Bryan was scheduled to be in a match regardless of that fan help with Sheamus at WrestleMania in a rematch between the two of them until CM Punk decided to quit and the spot against Triple H had opened up. So if you're a Daniel Bryan fan, thank CM Punk for even giving Daniel Bryan, indirectly giving him the opportunity to win that championship. So, it's interesting how things work out sometimes. So if CM Punk was there, it might not have been quite as good of a title match. or quite as good of a pay-per-view or a Triple H match, or lots of possibilities, lots of things that will probably change last minute. She asked him about his injury, and he talks about how brutal it was, saying he let down his fans more so than he let down himself. And he came back, thinking and fuming, thinking about how he has to win that world championship again at WrestleMania by winning the Royal Rumble. And Renee brings up his elimination from the Rumble, and Bryan, he got kind of a disappointed face, and it's odd because it's kayfabe, and you don't expect him to be like, well, I didn't do my job, because it's obviously scripted. And he just talks about he's disappointed that Reigns won, but not because Reigns won, because he didn't win, Daniel Bryan. And he said, hey, I never lost the title, which is interesting. He brings that up. There might be something to that if Daniel Bryan gets a claim at the title, whether it's at WrestleMania or after. So we'll see. That's interesting because I've been bringing that up a lot. Daniel Bryan never lost his title. Randy Orton never got his rematch. So both of them have claims to the championship, in my opinion. And Daniel confirmed that. He said it would be the ultimate David and Goliath story. He says Brock would have been a perfect opponent for him. They would have had a great match. And he talks about how Roman, he's deserving of the place he was given. He said even if Roman was handpicked or whatever, he still has to go out there and perform. And so Daniel Bryan kind of giving Reigns a bit of a rub there. So you'll see more of that from other top guys. It's just what happens. It's business. So Bryan talks about his casket match with Kane once Renee brings that up, and he mentions how he's not used to this type of match, and Kane is. And he also mentioned something else, that it's going to start setting up his WrestleMania feud with whoever it is, likely Sheamus, heel Sheamus most likely. He said he's going to do anything to end this feud. And traditionally in the WWF and WWE, a casket match is the end of a feud. It's for guys like Kane and Undertaker and Triple H and people that are notorious for these types of gimmick matches, it's very common for it to be the end of a feud when it pertains to a casket match. Back in the day, a long time ago in the 80s, with Hulk and all these big bad guys that would come out, the steel cage match was often the feud ending match, and it has kind of evolved into being a little bit of a joke, an afterthought, because steel cage matches there's no blood, there's not much physicality, to be honest, and they're not very long normally, and often they just pin them inside. So it's the end of the Kane feud, it looks like, for Daniel Bryan. So be happy about that. And then he said, I'm mad. I may look happy, but I'm pissed off. And he said he's gonna win that World Heavyweight Championship. So it might just be him playing to his fans, but he's gonna try. Daniel Bryan is going to try somehow to get his name back in the title picture, and it's gonna take the fans to do it. So then we get to a Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns interview by what was supposed to be Michael Cole. So I talked about this at the beginning. Paul Heyman asked, he shook Roman's hand, and he asks Michael Cole, can I do the interview? With all due respect, can I do it? I want to do it. So Paul, all of a sudden you got Paul Heyman, you got Roman Reigns, and you got Brock Lesnar. This is awesome, because Michael Cole would have asked some stupid question, and they would have given some political answer. But when you get Paul Heyman in there, something's going down. It's going to get interesting. It's going to get personal. So Heyman goes on this talk, this kind of rant, and he softens Roman up with some smiles, and he talks about how I know your family. I've always known your family. I've known your family longer than you've known your family. And he goes in depth talking about all the guys, the Usos, The Rock, everybody that Roman, has known growing up. And Roman cracks a smile, and he starts smiling, and he's going, yeah, this Paul Heyman guy isn't too bad, is he? He's talking about my family with a lot of respect. And Paul, behind the scenes, I think Paul is a huge fan of Roman Reigns. He's ever since he's come in the business, Paul has been adamant that Roman Reigns is the next face, the next top guy, and he believes it's for a reason. So I'm rolling with Paul Heyman, okay? This guy is a crazy good booker. He knows how to run things. He's made some mistakes in the past, but he's a good dude. I'm with Paul on this one. So he goes on to say it's in a Samoan's blood to be in a wrestling ring, and Reigns is continuing to smile, but he puts a serious face back on, and it was cool as you see a little bit of human in Roman. And then Heyman congratulates Reigns on his accomplishment, and he talks about he goes and he says The Rock knows Brock Lesnar, and he says how the Rock was destroyed by Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam 2002. So he basically butters Reigns up and then says, The Rock was the top guy. Brock is the top guy. When Brock was a rookie, he took out that top guy, your cousin, The Rock. The Rock and his rematch with Brock, wasn't that a great match? Oh, wait. That never happened because The Rock didn't ask for a rematch with Brock Lesnar because he didn't want to face Brock Lesnar again. He couldn't stand another match with Brock Lesnar again. And he says, Brock was a rookie like you're a rookie. He was the next guy like you're probably the next guy. And so Paul is he's killing it at this point. And gosh, this was a good segment. You got Reigns there selling human emotion, Paul selling Roman, to the fans as a legitimate competitor. His whole bloodline, he makes into, top guys all of a sudden. Not that they needed it, but Paul just brings them all back up and shoves it back in your face and says, here it is. And Heyman tells Reigns that The Rock will not tell him what he's really up against at WrestleMania. And this is when it got interesting. This is when Roman got his moment to shine. He's had a lot of mishaps on the mic. They've given him some really, really bad lines, and it's really frustrating because as he's not a good mic worker. He doesn't need to be a good mic worker to me. I enjoy good mic workers, but they also, non-mic workers have their place. Batista is the perfect solution for Reigns, in my opinion. I think Reigns is the next Batista as long as they don't ruin him too early. If you get the crowd completely tired of this guy, it's not going to be good. So he asks Roman. He turns to Roman and he says, how will you handle the disappointment of losing to Brock Lesnar? And he stares at Roman, and Roman stares back at Paul. And you see they cut to Lesnar, and he's just in his chair selling physicality, selling intensity. And he's just looking over at Reigns, and Reigns is looking right at Paul. And he says, with all due respect, Paul Heyman, I'd like to answer this straight to Brock Lesnar. He looks Lesnar directly in the eye and he says, I know who you are. I know what you are. He shortens it down to, I will beat you at WrestleMania. And I know it, you know it. And essentially he says, and if I can't make that happen, if I can't beat you, then I'm going to take a piece of you down with me. And he says, believe that. There was no believe that, it was believe that. Where's this Roman Reigns, okay? Where has he been? You know where he's been. He's been in his trailer or wherever the heck they have him, reading over Vince's stupid promo lines that he's writing for him. And he's not even writing, he's just copying stuff from cartoons from like the 1970s. Freaking Vince, let Reigns go. Let him talk. Don't keep shoving a mic in his face every other minute and giving him lines to say it and make him look like an idiot. Let him talk when he wants to talk, and let him talk. Let him say what he wants. Let him answer questions. Let him respond. Let him go face-to-face with Brock Lesnar. Don't put him in a press conference, That's the kind of thing they'll do. They'll go, oh, okay, he had one good time talking. Let's give him a 30-minute-long press conference where he has to speak. No, head-to-head. Put them both in the ring. Lesnar, Reigns, talking to each other. Paul, you can stay out of this one because Reigns and Lesnar can sell the intensity themselves. And then after he says this, Brock Lesnar actually stood up really quickly with full intensity. And the camera got all messed up and the sound went out for a second. So he might have bumped into something when he actually got up too fast. And he looks right into Reigns' eyes. And Reigns looks right into Lesnar's eyes. And Roman is just, he's given Brock a death stare that most guys can't do in this business right now because they're so similar in size that it's hard to recreate that. It was on par with Rollins Lesnar, which is saying something because Rollins is maybe he's like a top two. He's probably the number 2 guy in the company right now outside of Lesnar. He's the must see and can't miss. Seth Rollins is still on the show every freaking night. He's the man right now. Seth Rollins is that dude. Brock Lesnar is the man right now. John Cena sucks. They've got him, he's going to beat Rusev at either WrestleMania or Fastlane. If there's a decision, it'll be at Fastlane. You know what, John, it looks like he's not even going to save Rusev for WrestleMania. He's not even going to give him the decency of beating Rusev at WrestleMania. He's going to do it at Fastlane. Are you kidding me? You build up a monster heel this long with a great speaker like Lana, and then you just throw him to Cena? That's bullcrap. But we get Brock. He stands up real quick. They're locking eyes. And Brock extends his hand out. And Reigns shakes his hand. And they both kind of pull each other towards, even closer in to where their faces are, they're really close. And it felt like an MMA press conference, between Jones and Cormier, except they were both Brock Lesnar and, Jones size with more muscle. It's just, wow. It was really cool to see. And then Brock tells Reigns, see the difference between me and Paul? I don't respect you. And then the clincher for me, wow, this was my wow moment. Reigns selling full intensity. This dude is he can sell intensity with the best of them. You don't make him speak too much, but in the limited speeches, when he's in this kind of situation with a guy like Brock, he can do it. He looks right back at Brock and he says, "You will." Wow. Okay, I wasn't ready for that. That kind of intensity there, because I didn't think Reigns was capable of it yet. And I'm higher on the Reigns fan scale than most people. So this was, even though not much happened on Raw, and kudos for WWE for putting on a show. They could have called it a day. They acknowledged that Reigns was booed. I think this was a big deal to Reigns to acknowledge it, because if you just ignore it, like they did with Batista last year, it'll get worse. It'll get a lot worse. So either Reigns, it looks like after this promo, there's no chance of Reigns going heel till Mania. So, man, it was pretty cool. It's only been a little bit since it ended, and I'm excited for Brock against Reigns, because there's a lot of potential there for some cool spots, some cool moments between Lesnar and Reigns and Paul, and maybe some interruptions from other guys, including Seth Rollins. So I'm not going to take any questions tonight because I want to keep this short. But if you guys have any questions, any thoughts, send it to me on here, and we'll answer them on the SmackDown review on Thursday, because that's going to be a live show, and we're going to be broadcasting for you guys after SmackDown. And I hope you guys join us. We're going to be doing some fantasy booking. We're going to go more in depth with our WrestleMania predictions, because it's going to start unfolding. Subscribe, like, share. Breatha, again, thank you very much. We appreciate everything you're doing for us right now, especially me. Thanks for following me on Twitter. I'm on Twitter. I'll link it in my description. JT_Lucid. Breatha, if you've got any questions, any comments, hit me up on Twitter or on here, and we'll answer them on the next video. Like I said, all the support we can get, we can use, because we're really trying to get something going here. We want to get, over the next year, hopefully we've grown to a point where we can do interviews, we can do other things. I'm excited for what's ahead. So thank you for tuning in. If you did, if you're watching it live, big props to you. If you're watching it later on, same thing. Thank you for being here. If you enjoyed this, come check out all of our videos, or my videos, and Straight Edge Hitman. Go like his videos. Go check them out. Go subscribe. They'll be back. Straight Edge Hitman, and I believe Swaggy D will be back on the Thursday review. We'll be talking about lots of stuff. We may even see Ray Ray. He may make an appearance. So lots of stuff to look forward to. We're going to be covering, we do Raw, we do SmackDown, we do pay-per-views. I'm even going to do some stuff on the WWE Network. If you guys want me to do anything on the network, just tell me. If you guys want me to cover NXT, I'll cover NXT. If you guys want me to cover this new show about WrestleMania, the behind the scenes, I'm going to check that out tonight. So if you want me to review that, I can do a review for you tomorrow, and I can get somebody else on here to do them with me if you'd like. Tell me who your favorite guys are on the panel. Tell me what you like about them. Interact with us. Tell me what you like, what you don't like, especially what you don't like, because we don't want to put something out that you guys don't want to watch. So I thank you guys for everything. This broadcast was brought to you by Red Bull. It gives you wings. Shout out to Straight Edge Hitman, Swaggy D. Hopefully see Ray Ray on the next video. Thank you for being here. This is JT Lucid signing off. Have a good night. Have a good next day. We're going to get some basketball in tomorrow. Get ready for intramurals. You know how that goes. So thank you for being here, guys.